Hi, welcome to another episode of PhotoshopLightroomTV. I know we had a small break, but now we're back with another episode of PhotoshopLightroomTV, brought to you by sitetraining.co.uk, one of the UK's leading specialists in Adobe certified training. I'm Marek Mularczyk and I'm your host. This time we have a photography episode of PhotoshopLightroomTV. I want to start with talking about this particular lens here. This is a Canon lens because I'm a Canon user. Sorry to all the Nikon folks, but this will be a Canon one. I was recently looking for a macro lens, and I was considering different lenses, Canon 100mm or Canon EFS 60mm or Sigma lenses as well, and I finally decided on this Canon EFS 60mm lens. If you use a small sensor, because this only works on small sensor cameras, this is a fantastic lens. Well, when I was looking for the macro lens at the beginning, I also considered the 50mm lens. Now the 50mm lens is the EF, so it's not EFS. It works on every body, every camera body of Canon, and it's slightly lighter. This is quite heavy. I think it's 0.7 or 0.8 kilograms, which is still not too bad. 100mm macro lens weighs about 1.3 kilos. The 50mm lens is also 2.5, this one is 2.8. 100mm is also 2.8. But would you really need 2.5 when you can have 2.8? Well, what this one has, what 50 doesn't, is the ultrasonic motor. And ultrasonic motors are fantastic. They're almost silent, you can barely hear anything, and it's so fast. You can notice the difference between the 50mm and 60mm lens. Now, I don't do much of macro, but I also bought this lens to use it as a portrait lens. This lens shoots a fantastic portrait. It's a fantastic portrait lens as well. Sometimes people ask me, I want to shoot some portraits. What lens should I buy? Well, it mostly depends on your budget. But this is well, if you don't do any macro, if I weren't doing any macro, I would probably buy 85mm 1.8, a fantastic lens, not that much more expensive than this one, a bit more expensive, but a fantastic lens, ultrasonic as well. Because I do some macro as well, I bought a 60mm. Fabulous lens, ultrasonic. Okay, that's the front of the lens. It's 2.8. The filter size is 52mm. It's made of some texture. It's not plastic. Okay, and what's really important is it's got a metal bound here. Okay, it's not plastic, right? So this is great. It will last for many years. Well, let me show you some images from this lens. Welcome back. So once again, this lens, Canon EFS 60mm macro, here in the UK it costs about £400, something about that, can't remember really. In the States probably about $400. Okay, really great lens. Now let's go to a tutorial. This time I have a slightly different tutorial for you. This will be a tutorial in Adobe Bridge and also Adobe Dreamweaver. I'm going to show you how you can easily add images to your websites using Adobe Dreamweaver. Okay, so let's have a look on this tutorial. Okay, so here I am inside Adobe Bridge. I'm using Adobe Bridge CS5, but this works with any version of Adobe Bridge. I've also got open Adobe Dreamweaver. Again, I'm using Adobe Dreamweaver CS5, but it works with any version. And what I want to do here is I want to insert an image just below the heading, above the paragraph. But I want to add it really quickly. I just want to drag and drop it. And I'll show you how you can add it really easily from within Bridge. Okay, so let's switch back to Bridge. Okay, this is Adobe Bridge. I'll navigate inside the images folder. I'm using the Essentials workspace. Okay, and I want to add this image here, Girl on the Beach, into the page. Here's the trick. I'm going to use compact mode inside Adobe Bridge to add quickly, to drag and drop the image between these documents. Now if I wanted normally to drag and drop the content, I would need to resize the windows, make sure I can see them both, and then drag and drop the content. But instead I'm going to use the compact mode. Compact mode can be accessed through this icon here inside the bridge. That's how you can switch to compact mode. Compact mode is an amazing feature inside Adobe Bridge. Okay? And not just Bridge CS5. What compact mode does is it resizes your bridge window. So I click on it, this will resize the bridge window. Okay, so it's smaller, and I can put it anywhere on my screen. I want to make sure I can see the bridge page. But what's really interesting about compact mode is that bridge in compact mode will stay on top of the other windows all the time. Let me show you how it works. So I'm back to my Dreamweaver. I clicked on the page in Dreamweaver, and bridge is still here. I'll scroll down, and bridge is still here. It keeps staying on top of the other windows all the time. Okay? If I minimize Dreamweaver, I'm copying some files here, and bridge is still here. Okay? That's how it works. So now I'll just put my cursor here, back in bridge in compact mode. I'll select the image, and I'll just drag and drop it in here into the page in Adobe Dreamweaver. Now because I'm inside an image in Dreamweaver, it's asking me for the alternate text, so I'm going to type in the description of the text, Girl on the Beach, and I'll just press OK, and that's the image here on page inside of Dreamweaver. If I just exit the full screen mode, compact mode, back to full screen, now I can close bridge, and it's gone. Okay, and this page here inside the Dreamweaver, if I go to live view, you can see that this image is really a part of the page. Okay, so that's how you use compact mode inside the Dreamweaver, inside Adobe Bridge, to drag and drop the content between different applications. It could be on anything. In this case, it was just an example of using Adobe Dreamweaver. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and back to studio. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Once again, I'm Marek Mularczyk, I'm your host, and here, this is Photoshop Lightroom TV. This was a tutorial in Adobe Bridge and Adobe Dreamweaver, so you can see how simple it is to add the content, add images on your pages in Adobe Dreamweaver. Next week, I'm going to have another tutorial for you showing the integration between Photoshop and Adobe Dreamweaver and how to use smart objects. So stick with me. Now, this week's tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is Lightroom. Do you know how you can easily open images in Photoshop straight from within Lightroom? I know you can go to Photo menu, but there's a keyboard shortcut. Control E on a PC, Command E on a Mac. You can also define additional editors inside of Lightroom, so you could use other versions of Photoshop, because remember, Lightroom will use the latest version of Photoshop installed on your machine. So it might be Photoshop CS5 or Photoshop CS4. If you want to use other versions, you can add additional editors inside Lightroom and then use them as well. And this I'm going to show you also next week. So thank you very much for watching. This was Photoshop Lightroom TV, another episode. I'm Marek Mularczyk from sidetraining.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. You can send me an email, info@sidetraining.co.uk, or just go to sidetraining.co.uk website, and there's a contact page where you can send me an email. If you want anything that I won't show in here, I'll be happy to hear from you. And otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye bye.